And welcome to the Free Your Geek podcast / the Free Your Geek show. We're not really a podcast anymore.
We should just call it show, man.
We just call it Free Your Geek. Welcome to Free Your Geek. I am your host, Jay Free. With me in studio, making his triumphant return, the man known as KB.
What's going on, brother?
And I don't know if he wants to introduce himself like he did last time.
For the hundreds and hundreds of the Dons fans, let me introduce myself. Again, it is the People's Geek, the Don. That was very Austin Powers-like of me, but it still worked.
Allow myself to introduce
myself.
Fantastic.
That didn't work. Epic fail. Fatality.
Dude, the comments are already coming out on Facebook for those watching live on Facebook. Ian Mello and Corey are both saying hi. Friends of the show. Ian says he's glad you're feeling better because we know you've been kind of under the weather a little bit.
Thanks.
Thanks for being back. Before we get into too much here and discuss some stuff, a couple of housekeeping items. Number one, we want to thank our sponsors for those watching: Local Blast, Pachico's Furniture, and the Ritual Sweat Society. Thank you for being sponsors of the show. And just a quick disclaimer, not necessarily from ourselves because we try to keep it PG-13, but you see the TV-14 logo above to the left of the Don. But we sometimes curse a little bit, or we might have some themes that might be a little too sensitive for some of our younger viewers.
Risque, if you will.
Or it might not even be us. It could just be some of our...
My virgin ears.
It could just be some of... I'm just totally not selling that at all. It could be, just some of the comments we have in the Facebook group thread. So I just want to say the views and opinions expressed here are not strictly those of Free Your Geek or 59 Media or our lovely sponsors. Speaking of 59 Media, we have an unusual title for the show today, and it's called The Next Episode. And
Hold up.
Exactly. So, like the song goes, just chill to the next episode. So what does that really mean for Free Your Geek? It means that as of the end of this show today, we will no longer be part of the 59 Media family.
The conglomerate, if you will.
We'll be having a different studio where we're kicking some ideas around. We have a friend of the show right across the street, actually, Game King.
Yeah.
Shout out to Game King. And if you're looking for any type of gaming or collectibles, go check them out. But we might be doing some live videos from there. So anything you guys want to add as far as how does it feel, first and foremost? Before we get into our topics, I have to have my list of topics, but just some thoughts overall. I mean, we've been with 59 Media Studios for over a year, almost 2 years. Yeah, it's been a year and a half. Yeah. Where this is episode 61, I believe. We started in audio podcast and moved over to streaming video.
Podbean days.
We're still on Podbean though. We're iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, all that fun stuff. But we've had quite a run here at 59 Media Studios. We want to thank founder of 59 Media Studios, Eric Tolley, for giving us this awesome equipment. When we return with the podcast, we're going to be probably taking about a month or so of a sabbatical. And that was my joke. Where does Bruce Wayne go on vacation? On a sabbatical. That's a horrible
joke.
Yeah, horrible joke. But I just want to touch base real quick and thank Eric for everything he's done to get this show up and running. We were kind of talking off air. We were audio only, and we had some impressive download numbers. But since we've been streaming live videos and we've been going to different websites. We want to thank all of you folks, both listening to the audio podcast and viewing this video right now. We thank you for all, watching us and listening to us talk about stupid stuff and geek culture and just whatever we think. It's nice to have different opinions. We our tagline was, you can have a different opinion, just don't be a dick about it. So that's kind of cool.
It's a good motto to live by.
Yeah, because it's cool to have difference of opinions. In fact, Don, when he first came on, was a call-in guest,
Yeah.
and he was watching us on Facebook and was disagreeing.
Schooled us on Infinity Stones.
He was telling us that we were wrong about was it the Vision? Where it was basically it was something with one of the Infinity
Reality
Stones,
Stone.
and you told
the
us
Reality Stone's ability.
we were talking about it, and you're like, "You jerks are wrong. Let me school you." And I said, "You know what? Call in, man. Call in." And
I'm
he
like, this
called
guy
in.
just said my name on Facebook. Oh my god, I'm Facebook famous
You're a
now,
star.
dude. Oh my god. And then called in and it was. Am I the only call in?
Yes, because we've only had the capability to call in one time. We're going to be changing that.
We had Johnny Leather a couple times.
Johnny Leather did call in. That's correct. Thank you for. See, this is why KB's our statistician. He's all the stats guy.
I have the most eidetic memory probably of.
Apparently, well, he's wearing glasses, so that's a trope. But no, it's just really cool. Thinking that you started off as a fan, just listening to audio first, because you were talking about how you were working and you were just listening to us, and you were arguing with yourself to us on the podcast, and you're like,
it's happened,
my
yeah.
coworkers thought I was kind of nuts, and now you're an integral part of the show. You're like my. If KB is my right hand, you're like the thumb on my right hand, because that's the most important digit. I wouldn't say left hand because nobody wants to know what I do.
Nobody wants to know. I was like, he better not say I'm the left hand. Oh, jeez.
But just real quick, Ian Mello on Facebook says, who's watching us live, says he didn't realize our shirts all have different turtles. That's actually great. He thought they were all Raphael. Funny case in point. What's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Donatello.
KB, what's your favorite Ninja
Mikey.
Turtle? Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was Donatello. I thought you were a Donatello guy too. We all had
In video games, Donatello.
Oh, okay. So KB's got specifics.
Yeah.
I like Donatello because he's the geek of the turtles.
Out of the squad.
But I think Raphael is the more back in the day, for those that don't know, the Ninja Turtles, when they were black and white, when they actually started making the colored comics, they all had red bandanas.
Yeah.
And then it was not until the cartoon came out that they wanted to differentiate to sell toys.
That cartoon, man.
Yep. It's looking back at it now, super, super cheesy, but still, it was that got me into.
All of that stuff, though.
Yeah.
You should take a little trip down memory lane and how our show started.
Go for it.
Remember, when you were starting this, I wasn't going to be the original host.
Yeah. So KB was not going to be the original host, believe it or not.
Second co-host. It was going to. You were thinking of some other people.
Yeah, I was thinking of a friend of the show who's been on, Jedi Jackie. I was trying to get her on because I think it's cool to have, we're very equal, not equal opportunity, but we're not sexist. We think that, we love geek girls as well.
He wanted
girl power.
he wanted a Tina Fey, Jimmy Fallon thing.
Yes,
Yes.
That's a
That's
great
a-
way.
that's a good way to describe that.
fantastic way of putting. See, this is why this is what the Don brings to the show. More pop culture references.
But
fan.
also remember that first episode, the Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
Captain America Civil War. We had Joey on from Whatever Bro.
Yep, whatever,
And,
bro. Films.
It was a fantastic show.
Yeah.
We had some great conversation in that show, and it kind of just took off from there. But my favorite episode I think it was episode 2 or 3 was the Family Guy episode.
So KB, really old school. We talked. The title of the episode was what was it Sorry Kirkman?
Yep.
And we basically ranked our favorite animated shows.
Yeah.
We had.
It wasn't animated shows. It was characters. It was Family Guy.
Oh.
It
okay.
was Family Guy non-lead characters.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about our favorite cartoons.
No,
and we
no.
had your
That
daughter
was
on.
that was the 5th episode.
Oh, okay. So that's when back in the day before we were on Facebook Live, I could get away with a little bit more using copyrighted material.
Yeah.
I can't do that now. So
The way that show ended was great.
I love. So John Bavera saying, "What's up, fellas?"
John
Rich-
Viveros, our 3rd episode.
Yeah. So
We
he's
talked about gaming.
long time fan, long time friend of the show, from the beginning. Our roots when we were audio only. Corey, the lumberjack, basically saying who doesn't like a geek girl. I can absolutely agree with that. And Rich Marini, another guest, a frequent guest of the show, says he needs to be on again. Well, Rich, we are taking a sabbatical as we move studios, or as we're no longer part of 59 Media. So we're going to have to kind of figure out where that's going to be. But
I'll pick up on that. But you will be seeing the two of us because we're going to be part of your movie.
Yeah, we're part of Rich's movie. Well, you need to be on. You're going to come on the show again when it's time to promote your movie. That's when we're going to have you on again.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Don's going to be a character in said movie, and I'm going to be using my creative eye to get all the shots that we need.
Your
which is basically
whispering eye, if you will.
I can't even do that scene from Role Models, but that's a great reference. That is a great reference. But yes, Rich is going to be doing a short, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be very gory because I know how his mind works.
Oh, we do.
And so we'll be plugging that. So I should also mention, since this is going to be our last show for probably about a month or so, we're going to work out the logistics. Like I said, probably Game King. We're going to reach out to them, see if we can do a couple live videos.
Great guys over there.
We might just do it in my apartment if that kind of falls through too. We get some ideas we're going to kick around.
We might do it in a van by the bay.
No, you don't want to do it in a van by the bay, but you want to, in a van down by the river. That's an old SNL reference for anyone that hasn't been, anyone born before 1995. That would
She's
watch
probably
SNL.
too young for you if she doesn't know who Chris Farley is.
That's correct. Greatest movie Chris Farley's ever been in.
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Really? Yeah. Ooh, I was thinking Black Sheep.
Tommy Boy.
Though,
Tommy Boy's a classic.
Wait, are those the only Chris Farley
No,
movies?
well, that he was the
he's
lead.
The lead. That's it. We just named him.
Billy Madison. He was in
The
Coneheads?
bus driver.
Coneheads. Yeah.
The boyfriend.
Yeah. Yes. And he's,
He very good, Ian. Yes, he was the original voice for Shrek, and actually, Ian, most of it was already recorded when they had to use Mike Myers as a quick fill-in. Yes, I know a little bit of trivia too.
yeah, so
Don't give me that face.
No,
you
no, no.
probably didn't even know that.
I didn't
But
know
watch,
that.
Ian, type the word verify if I'm correct. Thank you. Moving
Ian's
on.
Ian said 90% of it. 90% of it. So.
Or something.
Yeah,
Boom.
that's fine. That's
I
cool.
read Facebook
No, we
articles.
love Ian. Ian, again, if you check out our previous episode with quality content, they were great guests last week.
They were really good.
It's we were talking about like the different ages. If you don't, she's too young for you. If you don't know who Chris Farley is, we actually talked to, the next generation of geek, if you will, the younger generation.
Yes.
So another good episode when they were on last time and last week. Great guest, Don. You were a great guest. Now you're a co-host, so I can't hold you in that esteem. But did you have a favorite particular episode while we were part of the whole 59 Media family?
My favorite episode was, I guess, when we got to get off location and we got to go to Remy's and like all the other guys were there and like everybody's podcast was there and we get to kind of put together our football teams and stuff. It's funny, we all used like a lot of the same guys just in different roles. I found that really cool. That was a fun episode.
That was a cool concept because we were doing on location for the big game, aka the Super Bowl.
Was our Heroes football team.
Yeah, we each made if we had to pick a different team of superheroes, who would be on our superhero football team?
What I really liked is like we had like our people there to watch. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
everybody was kind of there. Like obviously we're here like alone. We have our digital friends, but it was cool having people there.
Yeah, I absolutely enjoyed that. Trying to think of some of the other guests. We had Brian Paulin from Morbid Vision Films. He was cool. We get to interview. I get to flex my interview skills a little bit more. Roving reporter Jay Free, basically. Yeah, like a
Gumshoe.
wow. That's
Carmen
a-
San Diego. That's where I was going with that.
Okay.
Where in the world is Carmen San Diego? And the judge would say, "Okay, Gumshoes, where is Carmen?"
That again, you want to talk about an obscure reference. I mean, I think everybody knows, or for the most part knows who Carmen San Diego is, but that actual theme song is fantastic. So Rich Marini's actually jumping on, and I'd have to kick it around with the guys. I wouldn't mind doing it at your place, Rich. Rich has a furnished basement in his new home.
Oh, okay.
He's got couches. Because we're kind of talking about the idea of doing more of a talk show type thing.
Good, man.
We'll talk about that off air. We're going to kick some ideas around for the next month or so. I'm going to buy some equipment that we need here, hopefully, and we'll do some testing out because we don't want the quality. And it's funny that Ian's watching from quality content, but we don't want the quality content of the show to dip. So that's kind of our concern of mine. But yeah, that was a fun episode with Brian Paulin. With the interviewing, Jedi Jack's on here. John Van Damage was on
We
here.
had the who was the musical guest that we had?
Oh, we had Liv.
Live in
Yeah, we had them
quite a few
on.
people.
Yeah, we've had a wide
We
array
had
of
Faith
guests.
and Z.
We've
Faith
had-
and Z.
I would say, well, actually, this is more of a question aimed at you guys because you guys have been here double the time that I've been. But what would you guys say would be, besides, I would say Marvel would be the #1 topic you guys have probably covered over and over. You know what I mean? Because every year we're getting like 3 or
The
4
movies,
Marvel
yeah.
It would definitely be that.
Probably then Star Wars, because I think Star Wars we've hit quite a few times.
I was going to say, we've definitely hit, like, since I've been here, we've hit Star Wars.
Our
like 6
top
different
3
times.
topics, I would say, would be Marvel, Walking Dead, and Star Wars. And
guess what we're going to be talking? We got some topics.
Game of Thrones.
We've
too,
got
those
some
4.
topics here today, and they revolve around Marvel, Walking Dead, and
But that's
Star Wars.
Those are the
where
4 topics, yeah.
I want to say since I've been here, we've had the people who actually want, like the people who want to be on the show, like new guests and everything. It's always like Game of Thrones stuff. Oh, I want to come and sit talk Game of Thrones with you. We've had Elf on. We've had Chris on.
Aaron,
we've
Aaron,
had,
yeah,
I
Knight
mean,
Rider.
Aaron, yeah.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Elf.
Like
Well, we call her Elf because that's her nickname from back in the
We
day.
did all the Game of Thrones episodes.
Yeah, we went through Scotty Medeiros from Whatever Bro. We
Yep.
talked about Joe for all the Marvel movies. Scotty,
I remember
came
the first time we had Scotty on, and we were keeping track of the swear
the
count.
swear counter.
Yeah, that was fun. And Scotty's always a great guest, especially when it comes to movies. He loves.
Well,
movies,
that's one of his
and
passions.
That's his geekery.
We
right
talked
there.
about Disney deaths, like
Yeah.
like our favorite deaths in Disney movies. Like we've kind of like stretched the gamut.
That was pretty awesome. I loved that episode.
Yeah,
the
so
Disney-
I think moving forward, we kind of need to segue out a little bit more and branch out into different topics. I mean, I love the geek culture. Obie and Jared too. We talked about them. Their collection
The
of
action
figures.
figures, yeah.
We talked about who else was on our action. We had another action figure show.
Julian, my,
We had Jourdain
my
and
brother- my
Julio.
brother-in-law, yeah.
Like we had some good stuff. And Don came on episode 27.
joined
Episode 27. So for the last
Holy cow.
34 episodes, the Don has been part of our family here. We talked about, we had Jax on a couple times, as I mentioned. Johnny Leathers has been on a couple times
with the Chewbacca mask.
with a Chewbacca mask because we don't want to reveal his identity to the world.
But yeah, he'll post pictures of him as an extra in a movie. Johnny Leathers, what is up with that?
But he
Yeah.
usually has sunglasses
He
on.
does
And,
always have sun. He'll be in
hat
the
or something.
movie theater with sunglasses on.
What about Mike Prue, another old school
wrestling,
fan?
yeah.
We had wrestling. We had him talk about with Suicide Squad. He was there with for our Suicide Squad because Joe from Whatever Bro Films doesn't really watch the DC movies.
stuff.
He's more Marvel, which is cool because it kind of brings in that diversity or basically you have fans of DC and fans of Marvel. And
episode 12, Johnny Leathers' first episode.
yeah, we've had I did a solo episode there for a while. It was episode 11 where KB couldn't be on and Don wasn't part of
was
the show yet.
overseas and Don
And I just did
wasn't
my
here
favorite songs in superhero movies, and we talked about that. We talked about
That's a
NES.
pretty awesome show. I wish I would have been part of that one.
That was old school. But go
Gauge
back.
of Apocalypse.
Yeah, Gauge of Apocalypse, Sweet Babylon, as we
Sweet
mentioned.
Babylon. Yep, that's who we're thinking of.
Yeah, we've had a couple of different. This was
The Arkham Asylum one.
yep. We talked about
The Rant.
yeah JV. Oh, yeah. Before we were actually.
Before we were PG-13.
Yeah, we were totally
No
Kevin
Holds Barred?
KB
Went off on Batman vs. Superman.
KB. We
Oh, I've
set-
heard that.
we
I heard
set-
that whole
yeah
run.
with an audio of Super Mario Brothers. KB went on like probably a good 6-minute tirade, which was hysterical. But we have to put a disclaimer on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
In my wild days.
going back to Carmen Sandiego.
Carmen.
Ian Mello says everyone knows who she is, but not where, which I think is
It's
hilarious.
very true. Ian, I know that you will not know this because I don't feel that you've ever seen a floppy disk ever, but there was not only Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, there was also Where in Time was Carmen Sandiego. And in the school that
I
I
don't
went to,
remember
you
that.
had your choice of Where in the World, Where in Time, and Oregon Trail. And let me tell you, to get to play that Oregon Trail, you had to do some things. And that means extra homework. So no.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because Oregon Trail, I've never got past the first 15 minutes of it.
I didn't know there was more than 15 minutes of it.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Well, to the
I
part-
always
I get-
die of hunger.
I get to the part
Or
where you have
wagon wheel.
to hunt the the livestock. You had to like hunt deer or whatever was running across.
The bison.
Yeah,
was
the bison.
best.
I never got past that because I'm
Wow.
even back then when I was like 8 years old, I was horrible at first person shooters.
Wow! Oh my God! I mean, like I've like gotten a touch of scurvy in the game and died in the side of a river, but never from
No.
not having food.
Nope.
I've always had an abundance. Been
Man.
a crack shot since the age of
So
4.
funny. Oh man, that takes me back. But I think I disagree. I think Ian does know about floppy disk because I think he's that much of a geek that he would know, history, or even he has some type of mod of it, or
I've been inspired to download Oregon Trail, like the 4-bit Oregon Trail.
that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. That was such a fun game. Rich is also commenting, said he has to have his buddy Kate Eppers on. She's a great singer.
Hashtag Kate Eppers.
Yeah, dude,
Promotion.
send me like her Facebook link or something, in a private message. I'll promote it on the Facebook page.
And he will not Weinstein her. We guarantee it.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely guarantee it, and that's
He is definitely the Harvey of the group, though, folks.
Harvey Weinstein is not the person.
No,
wanna-
I meant Harley Quinn.
Oh,
Jeez. Oh my.
I thought you
this
said
ha-
Harvey. I thought I was like, you just told me that I was not a Weinstein, and then you called me Harvey Weinstein. Like, no, not that guy.
Harvey Dent.
Harvey.
I'll be Harvey Dent. I'll flip a
Harvey
coin
Dent.
for all my decisions. I'll just have to do the Batman voice, but I'm not going to do it because that's just not good. That's just not good TV. It's not good video. You want to get into topics, guys?
Topics.
Because
Sure.
we can just
Let's
continue
do
to BS here. But I have some topics. Let's start with Let's start with Walt Disney has released a new information about the upcoming 2018 release. Among them is this is again from comicbook.com and Superhero Hype. Solo, a Star Wars story. This is the description.
Ron Howard's directing it, right?
I believe so. I'll have to look that up. I cannot do that right now as I'm reading. But board the Millennium Falcon and journey to a galaxy far, far away in Solo, a Star Wars story, an all-new adventure with the most beloved scoundrel in the galaxy. Through a series of daring escapades deep within a dark and dangerous criminal underworld, Han Solo meets his mighty future co-pilot Chewbacca and encounters the notorious gambler Lando Calrissian in a journey that will set the course of one of the Star Wars saga's most unlikely heroes. So, not too much information really given there. We know he's going to meet Chewbacca and Lando.
Yeah.
I'm now, again, not being a huge, diehard Star Wars fan as the two guys sitting to my left. Was Han Solo ever like a favorite character of yours?
Han Solo is. You can have all of the Force using magic in the world, and it doesn't matter. You watched those 3 movies, the original trilogy, and you're like, I want to be Han Solo. I mean, I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to be Han Solo?
Well, that's what I'm asking. You guys, Han was like your go-to guy? On
He was
the
just so
original trilogy?
cool. Like, I mean, realistically,
I love you. I know.
I know. You know what I mean? Who you calling scruffy looking?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
He was the original kind of like, not an anti-hero per se, but just kind of like, goes against,
Goes against the grain.
yeah, it goes against the grain, buck the rules, and kind of like a Wolverine, like the like a badass type of thing. Like I'm not
Yeah,
gonna I'm not
exactly.
gonna fall into what your standards are for heroism.
And I can still be a hero.
He's a reluctant
Yeah.
hero, but he's
you
a hero
nailed it with
nonetheless.
Wolverine, and I've never ever associated the two. But yeah, Han Solo is the Wolverine of Star Wars.
So I'm assuming we're gonna see this movie,
Oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
yeah.
and we'll have to have a show on that wherever we land at that point.
So December next year.
Yeah,
As always,
year.
yeah.
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 So, that'll be coming down the pipeline. We talked about that on our last week about the year-end show, things we're excited for.
For,
and
yeah.
Solo was definitely one of them. So here's my question to you. Has anybody seen the movie Vacation or Game Night?
Yes, Vacation. Vacation movie? Wait. Is that with what's his name? It's the play on the National Lampoon's movies. It's the new one, right?
I believe so. I don't know. I've never seen them. So that's why I'm
Okay, so
asking.
yeah, then
Yeah.
okay.
So apparently, Vacation directors Goldstein and Daly to direct the Flashpoint movie. So one of the next movies coming out for the DC whole studio DCU is going to be a Flashpoint movie. So they're already doing Flashpoint with
Isn't
the
it
Flash,
kinda-
which I'm kind of already shaky on in and of itself. But
Isn't it kind of a little early for that?
yeah, well,
their
that's,
story.
again,
DC's kind of screwed. And now
Well,
they're
they
gonna
got
try to.
they got somebody new's taking over the helm.
so
From Nolan.
I know, but Think about it though.
I can't remember who it was, but somebody's taken over from Nolan as far as running it.
So I'm going to say this. Warner Brothers has finally found a replacement director for their upcoming Flash solo movie titled Flashpoint. And they're going to need 2 directors' chairs. As Variety reports, the directing team of John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein are in negotiations to direct the film. It notes that the WB has been stalling development on the project to make sure star Ezra Miller's schedule is cleared, having just completed filming on Fantastic Beasts 2. Now, though, with a fresh rewrite of the script in hand that leans a little bit more comedy than previously expected, studio has tapped Vacation and Game Night pair to direct. Goldstein and Daly are no strangers to superheroes either, having previously penned the first draft of the Marvel Studios' Spider-Man Homecoming. So they did the first draft of Spider-Man Homecoming, and now they're going to be directing Flashpoint. One of the things that it does say is that it's been reported several different members of the Justice League will reprise their roles in Flashpoint, including Jason Momoa as Aquaman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and Ray Fisher as Cyborg. It remains to be seen if any of them will actually appear and if Ben Affleck will reprise as the Dark Knight in the future. Thoughts
He
on
does
this?
not want to be
He does not.
Batman.
No.
But again,
Keep him away from. We don't
here's-
need a
here's my
Batman who
point.
don't want to be Batman feature.
Here's my point on this. In Flashpoint, we see a new world that the Flash created where Bruce Wayne was actually gunned down in the alley,
And his parents separate, right?
and the new
moms.
Batman is Thomas Wayne. So you could recast and still have a Batman, but not have it be Bruce Wayne and cast an older actor.
But doesn't his mother become Joker?
Yes, and then that'd be a cool concept.
It
They
would
don't,
be-
you don't
I
you don't have
can't-
to bring that in because it's still Flashpoint. It's still the Flash's world.
Yeah.
But you can just say like this is how we messed up the timeline. Is that Thomas Wayne is now running around as Batman, and I think that'd be a really cool story.
Yeah, so DC, that's right. So they scrapped Lobo and Deadshot.
Did they?
Yes.
Okay.
They're trying to take things in a different direction.
So Will Smith, who was one of the shining parts of the Suicide Squad movie, they basically scrapped a solo movie for him.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think DC doesn't know what they're doing right now because
Unfortunately.
besides him, it was only Margot Robbie that had like the best.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, 100 guaranteed you get like I don't know if it's in the works.
It
I'm
all
not
it all
really-
sits on Gal Gadot's shoulders.
Well, she's killing it. So she's doing great. Momoa's Aquaman, I think, is going to be great if they keep that theme of him just being like this badass dude.
But imagine though, I mean, this is just my opinion. The Hulk movies sucked. Solo Hulk movies were the most horrible superhero movies besides like the old ones. To me, I'm just
Okay,
saying.
I can agree with some of that. I don't think Iron Man 3 is up
Okay,
there.
hey, Iron Man 3 sucks too. Imagine though if like we had just the Captain America franchise was the best out of it. And all the other movies sucked, and we got to keep dumping them in with Captain America.
Yeah.
The only thing that works for DC usually is Batman. Now Batman's Ben Affleck, and he doesn't want to be Batman. He kind of sucks as Batman. So now we got Wonder Woman, girl power, everything like that, girl action figures, blah blah blah. So now like she and actually you guys both said her movie was phenomenal.
It was
like,
great.
You
you
still
know,
haven't seen it, huh?
no. I
It's
told you guys, you
amazing.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but here's to your point. What if they bring in, what if they do something similar with Aquaman or Ezra Miller as the Flash and the Flashpoint, and now they have a couple of linchpin characters. Again, I still think they've done it backwards. I know they didn't want to copy Marvel by doing all the solo flicks first and then doing the Avengers. They want to do Justice League, and then they're going to start doing Aquaman and Flash and whatnot. But to me, is if you get a secondary character now, or a second character, not even a secondary character, but a second character such as an Aquaman or the Flash, especially if Affleck is not reliable to be Batman, you can't set your stone on that. Set that in stone. With Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, if you can get somebody else, if you can get Momoa as Aquaman and you can get him to a 3-picture deal and the movie is like badass and amazing, like think about Khal Drogo as Aquaman, like kind of being like this, him and Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman and Aquaman, basically carrying the DC movies.
that's awesome. Like, and this is what's great about all of us is you show that passion for it. I look at it as what is the main. Okay, DC to me has one of two main parts. It's either Superman or Batman.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Superman's unlikable.
Superman is unlikable.
It's so unlikable.
And look at I think the actor who's playing Superman is doing good, but Superman as a superhero is crap.
I don't think he's unlikable. I think he's overpowered.
So basically,
But I
no, but it
think
comes down to him. To me,
I
I'm
think he's
just
unlikable still.
to me, I don't know. So then I'll remove Superman from it. So Batman should be my main point when it comes to like this DC universe, because that's their moneymaker all of this time. So I would invest in Batman being my focal point. I would have maybe done like 2 Batman movies to walk in to all of this. You know what I mean? I would have made it so like Ben Affleck was like phenomenal in these first 2 movies, you know. Then I would have introduced a Superman movie tying the 2 of them together as Batman being the secondary character in that. Then
Marvel did it with Iron Man.
Marvel did it with Iron Man, and then but hey, all of the intro movies we got within those intro movies: Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America.
You had 2 Iron Man movies in Phase 1.
Yes, we did, and. Actually, in the second movie, we didn't get too many roll-off characters, but in the first movie, we did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got to see Nick Fury. We got to see
Black Widow.
Black Widow. I'm not sure if Coulson was in it. I mean, this is going that far back.
Coulson was in the first Thor movie.
And then, yes, Coulson was, and so was Hawkeye.
Yep.
So I don't know. I liked Marvel's approach to it, and even now, I do not hate any of the DC movies. DC just. If you want to make it so none of the movies connect and none of that storyline matters, and I can just watch like free, like whenever I want.
That's fine too.
The animated series, then do that for me. Give me a single movie every time.
Not to mention the Green Lantern franchise is going to waste.
Oh man, that would be
So
good.
we did
going to
see
waste.
Green
I know we
Lantern,
did, but
little
still going to waste.
teaser.
teaser. So I think, depending what like I said, I don't know if it was on this show or if I was on the quality content show, but I'd love to see a Green Lantern Corps movie.
You know what would be
Get, like-
phenomenal is if they could get Ryan Reynolds to reprise his role as.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to
I
happen.
tried to keep the straight one.
No, no.
But no, come on, that wouldn't be like the funniest thing in the world.
I
He's like,
say-
hey, you know what? I'm gonna go back over here.
Well, either that or I think you set up a buddy cop movie with Guy Gardner and Jon Stewart as those 2 Green Lanterns, like kind of traversing the multiverse and
Kilowog.
or the universe rather. And yeah, like you can bring in Kilowog. You can even throw in Ryan Reynolds for a quick cameo if you want to, like have him stand there, or even like
And his like super like weird animated
super
suit.
CGI. Yeah. I think that'd be fantastic. But I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But you did mention Captain America as the central point. I want to talk about that in a second. But to your point, for main DC characters, they have the Trinity. They have Batman, they have Wonder Woman, and they have Superman. Those are their 3 like hallmark heroes, as opposed to Marvel, which is Spider-Man, Captain America,
Iron Man.
X-Men, Iron Man, Thor. The ones that you're gonna know. Like if you ask somebody off the street, like name me a Marvel hero, they're not gonna be like, oh, Ant-Man. No offense to Ant-Man
Or Doctor Strange.
or Doctor Strange, but they'll know him because of the movies now.
Yeah.
And because of the movies, and speaking of Ant-Man, let's talk into our next piece of business about Ant-Man and the Wasp. They just basically gave us a plot synopsis, again, from Superhero Hype, a new chapter featuring the heroes with the astonishing ability to shrink. So now this is very telling to me. This is what it says. In the aftermath of Captain America Civil War, Scott Lang grapples with the consequences of his choices as both superhero and a father. As he struggles to rebalance his life with responsibilities as Ant-Man, he's confronted by Hope Van Dyne and Dr. Hank Pym with an urgent new mission. Scott must once again put on the suit and learn to fight alongside the Wasp as the team works together to uncover the secrets from the past.
Just I gotta throw this out there really quick. While listening to that, I pictured like the 12-year-old version of myself picking up a book in Walgreens or whatever the bookstore was and just turn it back. Like that was like the back of a book right there.
Right?
And you know what? You can judge a book by the back cover, and that sounds pretty interesting.
Well, I want to touch upon this, but before I get into this
That was a
whole
Bob's
Ant-Man
Burger
thing,
reference,
So
by the way.
Oh, that's really good. That's really I don't always I want to give a quick shout out to Andrew on Facebook. He's asking about our thoughts on The Walking Dead as far as the first half. Andrew, not to be a spoiler, but that's going to be coming up. That's our next topic. But first, I want to just talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. So the telling piece to me in that little synopsis is that it's saying it's taking place after Civil War, but Ant-Man is coming out after Avengers: Infinity War, if I'm not mistaken. So it's coming out after the Avengers movie, but with it saying after the events of Captain America: Civil War, does that mean that this movie is taking place before
No, what it leads me to believe, honestly, is maybe it takes place at the same time. Maybe Ant-Man isn't present for that first stage of
Infinity War?
Infinity War. Maybe he's somewhere else, you know?
That's a good point. I
Could be.
You know, but because I'm thinking the whole idea of the Marvel movies is that they're typically in chronological order. I don't think any movie has come out and been like, this is happening in the past prior to these movies. I mean, they all have their own timeline.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Not a bad, yeah, but he's still showing the scene from Captain America: Civil War where he's
It
like,
still leaves off after that, yeah.
yeah. So that's what I'm trying to think. Like, you know, we saw
Captain Marvel, remember, is going to be way in the past.
right. So maybe that's something they're doing with this new phase. Maybe they're not going to be. Maybe something catastrophic is going to happen in Avengers: Infinity War, and then all these other new movies, the new things are going to the new movies coming out are going to be set prior to that stuff happening.
Imagine something like went wrong with the Time Stone,
And
like,
set everything back?
Yeah, and like it sends back.
That's
like,
an interesting
Sends
theory.
back Tony and like Thanos, just them two, and they're both like racing to get the shards of the Time Stone so they can return to any point in time
Ooh,
to
that'd
stop
be
the
interesting.
other one.
Well, quick shout out to the YouTube channel How It Should Have
Recast Iron
Ended.
Man.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen that YouTube channel How It Should Have
check
Ended.
that out.
But basically, what they do is they do like short cartoons, animated features about how movies should have ended. And spoiler alert for those who have not seen Thor Ragnarok. KB, point above your head for a second. Thank you. Spoiler
Don't
alert.
have to do it anymore.
Yeah. I just want to quickly point out, if you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, they kind of spoil this, but the whole scene when Hela comes out and she's seeing Loki and Thor, Doctor Strange just appears out of a portal and says, "Hey guys, I got this weird reading that another powerful entity," and then he throws her to an abyss.
Yeah.
And Thor's like, "But my hammer!" And he takes the Eye of Agamotto and he reverses it and fixes the hammer. And
That's
it's like,
awesome.
it's like that's how it could have ended. could have
15-minute movie.
cut it off. Yeah, exactly. So I just thought it was kind of funny. But to Andrew's point, and Dylan, actually, I want to just give a quick shout out to a couple people just jumping in on the comments here. Peter is saying the Green Lantern Corps was in Thor Ragnarok, and put it a wink emoji, and I think that's hilarious because that's absolutely true. Ragtag group of interstellar do-gooders. The Lumberjack has said he heard a theory that that Stark created the Time Stone that's in his chest. So the Ark is actually that could be interesting, and that's why Loki couldn't overtake his mind with the scepter when he hit him with the scepter. And
Yeah.
I don't know. That's an interesting theory. And Dylan McDowell says, "Hey boys, I missed you the past couple of weeks." Well, Dylan, welcome back.
We don't have a couch for you anymore. We're sorry. The couch.
Yeah, the couch is
sold.
gone. So for those just joining us, this is our last episode at 59 Media Studios. We will be taking about a month sabbatical and coming back with probably, we might not even take a month. I just basically have to buy some equipment to make sure that we're getting, the quality doesn't sink. We'll have to test it out. But yeah, we'll be going live from Game King, and a couple other different locations for the time being. So stay tuned to our Facebook page at Free Your Geek on Facebook, and we'll be sending notifications and alerts on what's going on with our show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Free Your Geek, and I'll be updating that as well with what's going on with the show. But to Andrew's point about The Walking Dead, before I get into our Walking Dead talk, I want to address his question right here. What did you guys think of the first half of season 8 of The Walking Dead? Andrew says there's a lot of people unhappy with the quality of the writing. What do you guys think about that?
It's been a drag.
I know we've had some internal talks that we're going to see how the rest of the season. I think Don, you specifically.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 steps from losing me as a viewer.
Which is interesting. Imagine that. Like,
I love the show. I just
The ratings have gone way down.
Realistically, I shouldn't say like I love the show. I love a zombie apocalypse. Like really,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like Walking Dead is one of the only things that does it really good. Z Nation is horrible, like a horrible, horrible show. And then you get like good movies here and there.
Yep.
But I just love zombies, man. Like I feel like I'd survive in that world. And I think I've said that since day one when I came on here and you guys asked me what I geeked over, and I told you like zombies, man. I love
man.
zombies.
well,
I do. That's Rich Marini and I
It's
definitely
just-
we share that.
The show seems to go all over the place now.
Yeah.
It really does. And the characters, it goes to so many unimportant characters at the most inappropriate times.
And it seems like
You're
they try
just
to
like-
boost up characters that we really don't
care
need.
about,
I don't
yeah.
know.
So, KB, can you point over the spoiler warning one more time, please? Thank you. Because we're going to get into the last episode before the break.
yeah.
And I want to talk about this real quick because a lot of people are upset at one Scott M. Gimple, who is the showrunner for The Walking Dead, because he's the one that made the decision to have Carl be bitten and written off the show. And a lot of people are upset about him because they're taking the show in a different direction than the comics. For fans of the comics, Carl has a bunch of very important arcs coming up. Maybe they're going to use Enid, or maybe they're going to use, I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scott Gimple, it was him that made the call, supposedly, and a lot of people are upset about him.
He should have killed anybody else. Anybody else.
Yep.
Carl was the whole future of the show.
And that's where I think the comic is going. I think it's all going to be told from Carl's perspective, or it's going to be like an Old Man Logan, where he's like the last survivor. I'm still holding out hope. Again, I don't know anything. I think it's kind of already set in stone. But I was talking to some people. Hopefully, I would hope that Carl gets bit, and guess what? Doesn't turn.
No.
Yeah.
If that happens, screw that show.
No,
I'm
because
done.
maybe he's the actual cure.
The
and
antivirus? No. Jesus, no. That would be
You're getting-
horrible.
You're getting Resident Evil-ish.
I know.
Yeah.
Or any of those far-fetched movies where one person is the antidote to the world, and no, man.
You don't think-
if
you
they
don't
do
think-
anything short of cutting Carl's ribs out, literally, and like taping them up as half of a person, and even so, he's gonna die anyway.
Yeah,
Dude,
he's
Carl
already
can't
missing,
live now.
an eye, and he'd be like the literal operation guy from the operation board with all the different pieces missing.
Oh man, that's not a limb. That's not somewhere like
Yeah.
Rick would have cut his whole arm off if he
Yeah.
would have got bit up here.
Yeah.
Like without hesitation. That was his
You're right.
rib, dude. What are you gonna do?
No, I think Carl is gone, but I'm saying from a storyline perspective, I'm looking at this like, how are they going to wrap up? They're going to get into Game of Thrones territory at some point, because here the thing is, the show is going to have to end before the comic books, because the comic books are still going pretty strong. So
Yeah.
my thought is that they're not going to be able to do another like 8 seasons of The Walk. I don't foresee that happening.
holding out that it's a whisperer bite.
Wow.
That would
That
be cool.
would be
That-
the only thing I'd be okay with.
okay.
But we still don't know. Like a human bite can cause infection. We don't see them with toothbrushes and this, that, the
Yeah.
other thing.
Right.
It's not the bite that kills you or turns you. It's the infection.
And whisperers aren't introduced enough yet.
No.
They haven't
No,
even
But
been
maybe
introduced.
that's a segue into season 9.
You know, this is ready. This is, since we're not going to be in 59. I mean, I'm going to say this is how I would wrap up
Yeah.
Walking Dead. Nobody wants Daryl to die. Daryl should just ride off into the sunset and do his own thing. He no longer has to deal with Rick's madness, because Rick's going to go over the edge, and Rick has to become the bad guy and then finally realize, oh, I'm the bad guy, but it's already too late. Most of Rick's friends have to die. Almost everybody there has to die.
Yeah.
And, we'll get little introduction characters along the way, but none of them will play a big role. Now it's no more time for, like, building anybody up. Now it's time to chop everything down, burn what you're going to burn, happy ending, doves fly at the end. That's it. Dude, the show has already...
Yeah.
We've recycled the same things over and over now. Now zombies don't really play a role in the show. They're like
Yeah.
props. It's like wars against people.
The horror effect is gone.
It's completely.
It's an action movie.
But
Went
to
from
be
a horror,
fair,
it went from a horror
has
show
the
to an
comic
action
book.
show.
So has the comic book, though, to be fair.
No, because you know what?
The zombies are still, the walkers are still the backdrop of the comic book. It's still about the whisperers. It's still about another group
Yes,
of
but
people.
the-
It's
no,
But I was going to say, the comic book is very good at drawing out those scenes of horror
right.
that the show just
without
isn't.
even without zombies though, the horror in that show,
Yeah.
the Governor Michonne scene, like just flipping through that was the most mortifying thing.
I agree.
And then Michonne's payback to him was equally mortifying.
And even Negan in the beginning.
Negan's a
In the beginning.
savage.
But now it's more like, he got into the when him and what's his name were
Gabriel.
locked. Yeah, when they were locked in the thing, and,
And
he's
then him and Carl's
he's
talk and-
yeah, it's just like, shut up, hit somebody.
But here's the problem. The problem with the governor and Negan on those shows are the actors that play them are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they're so charismatic that you have to change their characters a little bit because their charisma still bleeds off, and you're going to like them regardless. So I think what they're doing. And I have, JB, who was on a few episodes ago. I think it was episode 59, which is kind of ironic. But when we were talking about The Last Jedi, he's a huge fan of Negan from the comics. It wasn't sold as Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan on the show. And he wasn't and not saying he didn't enjoy Negan or didn't enjoy the governor.
Yeah, expectations.
But he's like, I think is it David Morrissey that played the governor?
That governor
great.
was excellent.
He was great, but JB was like,
comic book.
he's not
He wasn't
comic
the
book.
comic governor.
No, comic book governor. You guys remember he was greasy. He was like shiesty
Long
with
hair
the long
and-
hair and the little mustache.
Right. So it's kind of tough to do those same, But the reason I'm mentioning all this, and hello to Paul Tavares, friend of the show, who's been here for a long time as well. The Walking Dead season 9 gets greenlit. So if it's already been renewed for season 9, again, from Superhero Hype, AMC today made the number of announcements related to The Walking Dead, the highest rated cable series in history and the number one show on television for the last 6 seasons and counting. So that right there, it's still the number one show on cable, regardless of what the declining viewership or whatever, if anybody's complaining about the writing.
Yeah.
According to this, it's still the number one show on cable.
John Tavares, I gotta agree with you. Like Jeffrey Dean Morgan has brought so much to this season. Like I don't like if you take away that story arc, there's not anything else really going on that's too exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, Maggie's God knows how pregnant, and she's not even showing.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, realism factor, people, like she's eating. She's in like the main food source out of everywhere else, and
Well, just to set this, John was basically saying he didn't know if he'd still be watching unless Jeffrey Dean Morgan wasn't doing a great job.
That's-
That he's currently. No, I'm mentioning that for the audio listeners that don't know what's going on when we mention that. So that was the comment from John.
that was a comment. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. This is why you say I'm the host and you guys add. I'm the main course, but you guys are like all the spices, the pepper and the salt that make the meal amazing.
And then you got Morgan going over to Fear the Walking Dead.
Well, that's what I'm going to talk about. So
Yep.
Morgan's going over to Fear the Walking Dead, and I have another thought or another theory that they might end up doing here. But so Scott M. Gimple is now being elevated to Chief Content Officer. So basically, he's going to oversee the entire Walking Dead universe, including The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, and any potential brand extensions on a variety of platforms. So whether they go
the Telltale games and all that.
yeah,
nonsense.
or anything,
Which have been
revolving around
fantastic.
I do like those, but
But what I'm saying is that the person who's generating a lot of this anger for doing certain things within this last season, or the writing or the quality, the guy who's basically in charge of making the decisions on where the show is going, is now going to oversee not just The Walking Dead, but Fear the Walking Dead.
well, I mean, the guy's got balls like George R.R. Martin. I mean, you just chop characters
That's it.
off like that. I
That's
mean,
it.
keep things spicy. You
So
know?
I guess Kirkman's just doing the comics. then.
Kirkman's keeping the comics and the show separated now.
Good.
Yeah.
And I
Smart.
think that's fantastic. But we want to talk about girl power. Angela Kang is being promoted to, who's been a writer on the show since 2011 and co-executive producer since 2013, is being promoted by Gimple to executive producer and showrunner, starting with season 9 of The Walking Dead. So thoughts on that?
It's
I
new
don't know who-
territory.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm
who
saying
she
let's
is,
talk about 2011. She's been a writer since 2011.
Okay.
And like there's been some really good writing, since
Yeah.
20 like the last 7 years. Like, we want to talk about season 3, season 4, season 5, all that writing from, 7 years ago was good. If she's one of the writers and she's being promoted to showrunner, maybe we'll get some of that luster back,
Maybe. That show is
I
just
think
really losing me right
The
now.
show's gonna end.
I think it's
it's
done.
gonna end.
I think it needs
But
to be
okay,
done.
but that gets to my point about Game of Thrones, where the books haven't been
Game of
written
Thrones
yet.
gonna end too.
No, but Game of Thrones, the story is going to end, and we're going to know what's going to happen before the books come out. Where the same thing, we might know the end of The Walking Dead before the comic book ends.
Yeah, but if he's separating them completely
Yeah,
now,
no.
But I'm
I
saying-
want to say the same thing with Game of Thrones. We're not gonna get the same endings from book to TV.
That's true. So maybe they will keep it totally separate, and maybe it's just going to be characters inspired by the books and the graphic novels, and maybe we'll just kind of see. Because my theory is if what's happening with Carl, what if they use Judith? Because in the comic books, again, KKB's point over your head, spoiler alert. In the comic books, Judith dies very
dead.
early.
She dies at the prison under Lori.
Right. So
they die together.
It's so it's now that she's survived on the show, maybe they're gonna do like a time jump,
She survived on the show because they couldn't kill a baby on the show.
right? Or maybe
basically.
They couldn't kill it, dude.
they killed
couldn't-
they killed little girls, they killed children.
Look at the flowers.
Sophia,
Yeah.
Sophia, we didn't see. We saw a zombie.
we
Sophia
saw her get shot in the head
as a zombie.
as a zombie, but it's still a child.
Okay, from what I remember, the governor shot Lori in the back and she fell on top of Judith and smothered Judith.
Right.
That's easily could have been done on TV, but they knew to
Yeah,
better
that-
than to do that.
right.
And before they killed off that other little blonde girl, she was trying to kill people, or she was
Yeah.
killing
The
people.
girl's name is Lizzie, which
Lizzie.
being in Fall River is hilarious. Yeah. So I think I'm curious to see what The Walking Dead brings the second half of season 8. But we already know it's going to a season 9, so we're assuming if we don't see Whisperers this season, it's going to happen next season, and maybe that's when they go out. Maybe they go out with Whisperers and wrap up the story. I don't know, because right now in the comic books, it's a slow pace, but it's not to, again, spoiler alert, but they're bridging communities, they're building communities, they're meeting other communities similar to what we saw, a few seasons ago on The Walking Dead. So again, they're retreading a different storyline. It's taking different paths. But to your points, KB and Don, like, how much of that would you actually want to watch if it's like building another community, kind of like Terminus? You know what I mean? Like, are they going to do that on the show, or are they not going to go back to that well? Are they going to have to find something different?
Without Carl, it's like it's a whole different ballgame now.
I think so too. You developed our character. You developed our future character. The character who was going to take the torch and lead this into the future. Rick could easily die.
That kills your idea of Rick dying.
Well, that's what
Really?
I thought. I thought it would eventually lead to Rick dying and Carl being the leader of this group and forging into the future. They can still do that. Maybe it'll be Judith.
I would
Maybe
like
it'll be
that.
Judith. And again, like, hey, we're all about girl power. I love that stuff. Let's talk about Judith being a leader in the zombie apocalypse as a young adult now. And we fast forward. Rick's an old man. He's walking on a cane, and Judith is like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
I'd
I
rather.
can't- what were
Oh,
you
sorry.
gonna say?
I was gonna say I'd rather see Daryl and Carol take a spin off
Yep.
and do something. Surviving on the road. It'd be more interesting.
100%. You could kill the rest of that squad off. I'd watch a whole Daryl and Carol movie.
I think
Delma and Louise ain't got nothing on Daryl and Carol.
I think there's two characters you can't kill off on The Walking Dead, and that's Rick and Daryl. Because I think
now you can't kill
Right.
off Rick. You could have killed Rick off with Carl, continuing to build that role. Why would you? I'm sorry. Can I just go on this really quick? Why
Raise it
the
up.
hell would you set Carl up in those final episodes? You built Carl up as his own leader. He goes out of his way to help that guy when Rick tells him not to. And he sticks by his decision. Like, hey, I went back and gave the guy food, and like that's what it was. And he, oh my God,
Brilliant
the whole-
during that attack.
Amazing during the attack.
Yeah.
Got everybody out of there, stood in there, then went up and like had that talk
but
with Negan.
it was that at that point he was already bit, so he knew he had nothing to lose.
He was already bit at that point. I
Yeah.
did not know that. No,
That's-
I
that's-
could have swore
that's
that
the-
when he hit the ground and got back up and was walking through the fog, that's when he got bit. There
I'm-
was no indication that he got bit before that.
I didn't
Now
notice
have to
it.
go-
I thought it was when he. I agree with you. I think it was
Okay,
when he-
John, if you can
Please,
jump
yeah.
in there, John Viveris, because I know you watch us religiously and you're watching now. If you can kind of give us your thoughts on that, because my thought was when he was talking with Negan and he was getting everybody out, he basically did it because he knew he was gone anyway.
No,
so even
no.
if they killed him,
No, I think
I'm
it
not-
was after.
No,
I'm
he
pretty sure it
was,
was after.
that was bravery. That was not because I'm gonna die. That was Carl being who Carl is supposed to be. That's what Carl has been bred
Yeah.
to be. Like that's what a leader does. Rick would be the guy up there doing that. Then look, his son did. Not Daryl.
Yeah.
Daryl was there. Daryl took off. Okay? Carl went up there, stood at that gate, had the moment with them, told him, "You want to kill someone? Kill me."
Not to mention
And
all,
look at what it did to Negan.
all the build up when he was with Negan, when Negan
Yes,
captured
the
him. There was
whole-
all that build up.
Oh,
That whole
man.
thing is like,
You gave us a whole season to build Carl up to kill him off.
not to mention the Whisperer story in the comics.
Carl
The
plays
link
a-
to the girlfriend who is the daughter of the leader of the Whisperers, and
We'll do it for you.
spoilers, but that's comics, so
Yeah,
that's not
actually,
going to
it
happen
doesn't- it
now.
doesn't even matter.
It's not even a spoiler. It's not going to matter now because in the show, if Carl's gone, it doesn't matter.
but maybe, like I
So-
said, maybe they. He said, pretty sure he got bit when he was saving the guy in the woods, and the events following are basically Carl and nothing to lose mentality.
Well, you know what? I'm going to try to prove you wrong on that.
So we're gonna
I'm
have to
gonna
go
try
back.
to prove both of you wrong on that because I didn't pick up on that. I didn't pick up on
So
that.
John's on my side. Thank you, John, a loyal follower and viewer and friend of the show. When we get to our new location, I'm going to invite you. I want you to be one of our first guests back.
John, I say this to you. On The Walking Dead, I've seen Glenn positively die and then not die. Like, to a swarm of zombies. Carl and that guy fought off maybe 3 zombies in the woods. 3. Carl throws a soda can on the end of a pistol and turns it into a silencer. Like, this kid has been killing it since the prison. This kid's not going to die to 3 zombies in the woods, get a little bite on his ribs from zombies in the woods. Damn it, John. Damn you. I will prove you guys wrong.
All right,
And if I won't, I will happily apologize for my...
Oh, good. I'm gonna record that and put that on the Facebook page, and I'll tag you on it, John, just to make sure you see that. So I mean, that pretty much wraps up all the topics I had. Any other final thoughts as we, this is our last show at 59 Media Studios. Any other
But you know what? If it's our last show at 59 Media, why don't we let some of the viewers bring up some topics?
We could.
We got time?
We got a few minutes. I mean, if John, stalwart Johnny Leathers just joined. So, you know what, John?
That's a bad
Paul,
idea now that Johnny
Leathers.
joined.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to give any thoughts of some of your favorite episodes, I'd be cool with reading that too. But
Or just anything they want to talk about.
yeah, I mean, I think it's been a fun ride here at 59 Media. Johnny wants to do a barrel roll. I am not doing that. Yeah, I think it's been a really fun ride here. I think I'm excited, and I want to definitely reiterate that the podcast and the show is not going anywhere. We will be back. This is not the end of the show. We're just going to have to move to a new location, as this location is no longer viable after this week. So we'll be, getting some equipment. We'll be doing some testing over the next month or so. Even if I have to get a folding table and doing it out of my living room, I'll get a nice little Free Your Geek tablecloth, put that over the table. We'll get 3 seats that actually go below the table, so we're not sitting on these stools.
Oh, hunched over. I
Yeah,
hate
it's
these seats.
it's not fun, but it's a small cross to bear to have all this awesome equipment. Obviously, we won't have a TV and stuff like this that you see now in the new place, but we will have a couple different locations. As we mentioned, we're going to be going into Game King, and we're actually going to go there right after this.
Oh,
And,
geez. Now that it's freaking almost 8 o'clock, I don't know about
yeah, well, that's true too. So we have a couple of new. I don't know if that's Lupez. I'm assuming first time watcher, but I like the topics of conversation. Thank you very much. I appreciate new viewers. Go back, check out our videos on our Facebook page. We also have audio podcasts as well. If you want to listen, we go through pretty much all geek culture for those that are new viewers. But we enjoy everybody watching. We enjoy everybody commenting and giving into our little community here of all things geek. Johnny Leathers, I don't know if this is a joke, but he wants to know, yep, it is. What is Super Mario's favorite movie? Mamma Mia. That's fantastic. Johnny Leathers, ladies and gentlemen, our own stand-up comedian. We still want to get Johnny on. Once we get to our new location, we can actually, I'm going to try to work on getting live phone calls in studio. I want Johnny to do a leather report from wherever he's at for like quick 5 minutes, what's been going on with him, and just give us the leather report and tell me what movie he's going to be in or what movie he's seeing or some type of fun fact from a film, and he'll probably throw in some bad joke that we won't be able to say on air. So I'll have to have him give me that beforehand so I can make sure.
We need to get a bleep button for when
Stays
he's
I was
on.
thinking the same.
bleep
thing.
sound effect. Yeah, we
And
just
when
do it.
Scotty's on, too.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. But yeah, it's been a good time. But again, thank you to everyone that's been like sticking with us and growing this community of like we mentioned at the top of the show. We started as an audio podcast, maybe
Just
getting
the 2 of us.
Yeah, just me and KB.
Building castles in the sky, just the 2 of us, you and I.
Yep. And then we brought the Don in, and it was Three's Company.
Come on, knock on our door. We've been waiting for you.
Again, nobody like over the age of like 28 will get that. But yeah, so yeah, it's been a fun ride. But like those original podcasts were only like 30 to 40 downloads per episode. Like our first show, Civil War, is still like maxed out at like 96 or 95 downloads. We haven't broken 100 yet, but now we're getting over 1,000 views per video that we do. Sometimes we hit, when we have topics such as Star Wars or whatnot, we hit like 5,000, 6,000 views, and it's insane. And we thank you for that, because that's been awesome. I don't know. I think this is it's been a good fun ride here at 59 Media Studios.
We found our footing.
We did. We're kind of finding our groove. How Jay Free got his groove back. I
don't want to know about that.
No.
He went to Jamaica by the beach, boy.
So Johnny Leather says he looks forward to getting jiggy with you guys at the new studio, and I want to see y'all sitting around. Yeah, we won't. We'll incorporate some very spastic dance moves, so you think I'm having a seizure, because that's about the extent of my rhythm. But let's just go out. We're kind of at the end. Do you guys want to hear the final countdown theme song? We haven't done a countdown in a while. Let's bring in the final countdown theme one last time before we take our little.
Not one last time.
One last time at 59 Media Studios. I'll rephrase before we go on hiatus for about a month or so.
One more time.
Ready, guys?
Yeah.
We haven't done this in a while.
I know.
It's the final countdown. The final countdown. Yeah.
Johnny Leathers right now says he wants a flipping free geek T-shirt. I don't know, Johnny. If you want a free Your Geek T-shirt, I can make that happen. You just need to hit me up slide into my DMs, I guess. Is that what the kids are saying? Just send me a private message.
I believe that's what the kids are saying when they want something dirty.
Oh, well then I don't want
Slide
that.
it in my
I don't
DM.
want that. Just send me a private message, sir. Just send me and Lupez says those shirts are dope.
I want to say that his name is Juan, and that's his last name, Juan
Oh.
Lopez.
Okay, well, you know what? Correct me if I'm wrong, and if it is Juan, I apologize. But hey, these shirts are awesome. My buddy made the design. We are going to be making these available for purchase before we start our next live show. I already have a website that you're going to be able to buy them at.
Absolutely.
So,
In the name of the great Jedi Master Yogurt merchandising, free Your Geek T-shirts, coffee mugs, sweatshirts. Get them here at the website. We got them all for you.
The Jay Free doll.
Oh my God! Don't tickle him, or he might poop. Comes with his girlfriend Dazzler.
wow, you guys see.
And the Invisible Woman.
Yep.
This is what I get. This is what I get. So, Free Your Geek's coming back with 2 new co-hosts, or at least one less co-host. We'll figure it out.
He's really excited about the Dazzler
Juan,
movie.
No, Juan, I apologize. Juan, you're the man. Thank you for tuning in.
Johnny Leather, if she is really dead and you're making jokes about this,
No, she is dead. The lead singer of the Cranberries did pass away.
Johnny Leather, Jesus Christ is going to take a shit on your grave.
Okay, and again, we're at TV14, so we can say that one time.
We can.
So, yeah, but that's something else, not necessarily in our realm, but we want to talk about that. Cranberries.
True.
I mean, great. We lost a good singer. It was unexpected. She was young. I think she was in her 40s.
Right in the studio, right?
Oh my goodness. Actually, you know what? We seem to be slowing down. I get to go on a mini rant right now.
Go for it.
So, anybody who actually watches this, who is part of one of the groups that I share this with, randomly I'll get these messages from you guys like, hey, what does this have to do with blah, blah, blah? Okay, so what does this have to do with Rick and Morty? I love Rick and Morty. I throw out Rick and Morty references on our show every now and again. They don't get it, but you guys would if you watched
Oh, no,
it.
I watch Rick and Morty.
All right, awesome. Boom.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me.
Oh, to live is pain.
Pickle Rick.
To all of my gamer groups, if you guys watch this, me and KB game a lot
Serious-
more than
oh.
Jay Free, but we love video games.
Wolfenstein 2 right now. Oh,
I don't play the Wolfenstein.
what is wrong with you?
Geeks of Tomorrow, Geek Gamers, blah, blah, blah. Dude, the name of our show is Free Your Geek. So if I share with you guys, like
it's
listen
stuff
to
we
some
geek out
culture.
about. It's all geek culture stuff. We touch on a variety of topics.
Absolutely.
We've had video game shows. We talked about NES Classic that came out, a while ago. We talked about Injustice. We talked about Marvel Heroes Omega, which is no longer.
Yep.
I actually tried to. I know we talked about how it was being.
We did some
discontinued.
gaming countdowns, superhero game countdowns.
But I did jump in and I started. I tried to boot it up and it couldn't connect to the servers. And I'm like, okay, I guess I can finally delete it off my PS4.
The funniest, I am a member of one specific group that we've never ever touched on, and I always feel bad for this group because I force it on their page anyway, and it's the Slave Leia bikini costume page. I don't know how I became a member of this group, but they always ask, well, what does this have to do with Slave Leia? We all got a thing for Slave Leia.
That's just a
Right.
geek
You
icon.
know, I mean, like, damn, if you want us to go on a 15-minute rant on how amazing Carrie
Slave Leia
Fisher
is.
looked back in that
I got
day,
this.
we
I got this
will.
right here. We just talked earlier about the Solo movie. What if Solo first runs into Jabba and he's got a different person in the Slave Leia bikini, and he's
Boom.
got a new slave? Boom.
Content done. Thank you very much.
So
And I
there we
love
go.
you guys. You guys are awesome. I love when the people in the groups I'm in reach out to us, give us little tips, say, you know,
Johnny Leathers.
Yeah, these-
oh, here we go.
good for these groups to
Let's
tell
talk
us what
about
they wanna
Paul
see.
Tavares is saying that she was 46. Rich Marini says if one of you, if I fire one of you guys, he's willing to take one of the spots.
Jesus.
Johnny Leathers wants in too. He says, "Free Your Geek," starring Johnny Leathers. We're gonna just have. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna find a location. I'm gonna invite all of these guys, and we're gonna just have a fourth seat open, and we're gonna have 15-minute tryouts with a new host and see what a new co-host and see what they bring to the table. See what kind of conversation they can stir up.
Gore and raunchy jokes.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Let's see.
Jabba.
Johnny Leathers also mentions that he wants to. He plays hundreds of video. He literally has hundreds of video games. Let's do a streaming thing.
Johnny, I know you told me a while ago. I kind of gave up on my own like little video game streaming thing. I don't really have that much time to play video games as much as I'd like to.
Yeah, we
Well,
haven't
you
been
know-
able to get the sessions together.
Oh my God! Look how awesome! I gotta show Johnny Leathers this. I'm gonna step off camera for a minute.
Yeah, go for it. So Johnny Leathers, do you want me to say what he said, or do you want to?
Well, no, he just dropped a little like old school rap.
Speaking
and
of
you're
dropping-
dropping too.
There you go. Stop. There you go. Boom. That was good. That was
Courtesy
good.
of Game King.
Courtesy of Game King.
Game King
Our
now
new
sells
unofficial-
retro
yeah.
video games.
And hey, Game King sells retro video games, and we might be streaming live from there in a couple of weeks. So check out our friends at Game King. And yeah, it's going to be fantastic. It'll be great. We're excited to see where the show is going.
I like that. Rich, a battle royale.
Yeah,
that
that's
reminds
Johnny
me of the movie
Leathers.
Accepted. You
Jo-
guys have
Johnny
seen
Leathers said
Yes.
Royal Rumble for the hot seat. And the Royal Rumble is coming up on the 28th of this month, which is my favorite WWE pay-per-view. So,
You don't want any of the people's geeks.
yeah, he'll do
elbow.
the geeky elbow.
I don't know how.
I
it
wish I had a
works.
cricket sound effect right now too. I'd play that.
I'm starting to get super hot in here.
Yeah, so let's wrap this up, folks. It's been a fun ride here at 59 Media Studios. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Pachico's Furniture. Thank you, Local Blast. Thank you, Ritual Sweat Society. Thank you, Eric Tolley, for giving us the opportunity, letting us
Absolutely.
grow this. Again, we're not going away. We're taking a little time off just to get our situation straight, but we'll be back. We'll find a new studio or new on-location places to do the show, and we're going to go from there. So give us a little while. Pay attention to our Instagram, our Twitter, Free Your Geek on both of those. Go to jfreethegeek.com. Find us on Facebook, Free Your Geek, for those listening to the audio version of the show. And if you guys have anything you want to plug for one final time,
No,
No.
not really. No.
No.
Johnny
no
Leathers is
plugging for us.
Jonathan. Oh, and John Viveras Raw 25th anniversary. That's this Monday.
Hey, listen, you two. Take it easy.
And Don's I think flirting with you a little bit.
Beth will be killing people.
So it is what it is. Okay, I hate using that term. Let's not go out on that. Let's go out on our catchphrase. KB, now that you're back for like the first time in like a month, let's even though we technically tomorrow's Friday, it's the unofficial start of the weekend. So KB, one last time.
Start your weekend with your geek friends.
And get your geek on.
Bye everybody. See you next time.
you're still here. It's over. Go home.